Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me here today for this gentle, slow flow practice.
Come down onto your mat in a comfortable position, using props or not, just taking up some space, and we'll give ourselves a couple of moments to arrive as we typically do. Finding a little more stillness in the body once we've made our adjustments, and practicing centering and grounding ourselves, maybe by closing down through the eyes and just removing that sense of sight, beginning to draw our awareness maybe first to our senses, noticing if there's a taste on the tongue, just relaxing the tongue and the jaw. Noticing if there's a scent in the air and the space. Noticing the air, the breath entering in and out through the nose. And just noticing behind those closed eyes, maybe there's a blank slate that appears. Maybe there's a vastness like the universe out in space. Maybe there's plays of shadow and light or kaleidoscope colors. Just feeling the eyes soften and all the muscles relax. And then noticing the temperature of the space on your skin, how your clothing feels. Where your skin is bare, might be a little cooler. Just noticing your shape, all the outer surfaces of your body, where you feel sensations of energy or vibration. And then to the sense of hearing, maybe first acknowledging and identifying the sounds that are the farthest away. And just the sounds within the space, the comings and goings of sounds, the spontaneity. And then maybe drawing your sense of sound a little closer to maybe noticing sounds coming from your body. Maybe it's the breath. And now just noticing how your whole body feels in the position that you're in. Notice the rhythm, and quality of your breath. And if the eyes are closed, maybe just visualizing your body in the position that it's in. The shape, this vessel we've been blessed with as we navigate this life's journey. Sending some love and gratitude to your physical body. And appreciation for everything you're able to do from a physical perspective. Intention for the day is patience. Appreciating and enjoying the journey, not just the destination. Practicing trust and going with the flow. Practice, and all is coming. And maybe your intention today is around patience, being patient with your physical body, emotionally, mentally. and with unconditional love. And maybe it's something else today, whatever arises for you or resonates with you, just setting your intention for your practice today. Good, and let's begin when we're feeling ready, just to slowly start to wiggle those fingers and toes. Maybe rocking the head gently from side to side. Nice and slow with your movement, just enjoying slowing down before we begin to flow, warming up some of the areas of our body. Good, and then maybe stretching the arms up overhead, zipping in the legs closer together. Maybe your props underneath the legs, you can work with it or you can move it out of the way when you want to. Really reach and lengthen as you breathe in. And then as you exhale, let's take that banana shape over to the heels to the bottom right corner, maybe crossing the left ankle over the right, maybe lifting the shoulders, head, arms to the upper right corner. Just wiggle those shoulders. You might take the left wrist into the right hand. And notice what position the head wants to take here. What's comfortable for the neck. It might drop to the right as we open that left side of the body, feeling that space open up through the left side of the neck as well. Just relaxing any tension, any muscular contraction, and observing these next fuller, mindful rounds of breath. Just releasing your last exhale out all the way. We'll use our inhale to unbind and adjust back to center, maybe a stretch. And the next exhale, walking now over to the left corners of the mat, opening up through the right side of the body. Maybe the head wants to just drop in the opposite way, opening up now through the right side and noticing where you feel space. Where can you adjust to allow the back body to ground back down to the mat? Releasing any holding or tension here and enjoying creating space. Good. And then again, after your next exhale or when you're ready, we'll unbind. We'll come back to center. Take a gentle stretch, drawing the navel back towards the spine. And just wiggle and adjust your stretch however you like. Take one more big lengthening inhalation. And then exhale, just soften your body into a mini Shavasana. Two more times. Inhale, stretch a little fuller, nothing too forcefully, navel drawing back towards the spine. Exhale, just soften in. And one more time, big stretch, pulling the navel gently towards the spine, feeling up all the way. And exhale, just letting it go. Taking a couple rounds of breath in this final rest before we begin to move once again. Good. And then as you're ready, we'll start to take a bend into the knees, planting the feet, adjusting through the pelvis, the spine, and let's start with our little rocks of the knees from side to side. And just reminding you that if there's any other movement, stretch, pose that you want to bring into your body, that your body's calling for at any point in time, feel free to challenging when you want to challenge, resting when you want to rest, no matter what's offered. Good. And then let's bring those knees back to center. Walk the feet over to one edge and then push into the feet to slide the hips to the same edge so we can fall in our fetal position on the opposite side, just supporting the head with that lower arm. The knees pulled in gently. And just release any tension through the hips if you tend to squeeze the lower hip or the lower shoulder. Maybe just feeling the right side or that lower side of the body, making contact to the mat, and coming back to your breath. And when you're ready, gently pressing the upper hand into the mat, and we'll rise up, just coming to a seated position. So maybe crossing through the legs, pulling the fleshy bits back and away, rocking a little from side to side, finding your nice tall spine, feeling rooted and grounded through your bottom and that opposing force of the crown lengthening away from your root towards the heavens, the thighs, the knees, just beginning to soften down. Let's adjust and just see how this feels in our body. We're going to take the hands to one of the thighs and kind of lean to the opposite way and externally rotate the thigh. So we're pressing the quad down and pulling the back of the leg forward or up. And then we'll lean the opposite way and do the same thing. And then lean forward and just pull one fleshy bits and then the other and come on up. Pull that low belly in, roll the shoulders down and back, give yourself that little wiggle. Let's begin with our Surya Pranayam, letting the arms come out to the sides, maybe flipping the palms away. We'll inhale, sweep the arms out and up, just gathering energy. Maybe palms touch at the top or maybe they don't. And then slowly lowering the hands down, maybe the palms come together at some point and we'll draw them to hands to heart. So moving with breath, inhale, sweep the arms out and up, reaching up, maybe looking up. Exhaling, hands to heart. One more time in this direction. And just noticing that pause as the thumbs make contact maybe to the sternum. And on our next inhale, we're going to go in the opposite way, reaching up, maybe looking up, floating the arms out. Bring them to a fuller range of motion, nice and soft through the elbows, sweeping them back to center. And just a couple more times like that. Warming up our shoulders before our vinyasa. Good. And then the next time we bring the hands to heart, we're just going to stay here, give a little wiggle, relax those shoulders. Notice how the sit bones are grounding heavy. Maybe you still feel that slight adjustment of the rotation of the thighs. And then pull in through the low abdomen as we grow tall through the crown. And as we exhale, twist to the right. So using that core, the thumbs stay at the sternum. And once we find our twist, maybe the head can turn a little further, but not forced. Relax the shoulders and continue to feel yourself grow tall on your inhale, softening gently on your exhales. So noticing the difference in when we're using the hands and arms, and you certainly can if that feels better in your body. But just getting outside the box and doing something a little different. Now really ground down into that left sit bone. So we're not pulling that hip forward. We're using that core strength to stay tall and to twist the upper body. Good. On our next inhale, very slowly unwind, come back to center, keeping that core engaged. And then using your exhale, this time before we move to the left, ground heavy down through that right sit bone. So we're not letting that hip pull forward. We're really twisting from the navel up, keeping the thumbs again at the sternum. And once our chest is turning to the left shoulder pulling back gently, the right shoulder slightly forward, but not forcefully. Maybe the head can turn a little further. Just finding your deep breaths here. Good. Again, we'll inhale to grow tall and use our exhale to slowly, slowly unwind using that core. Good. Let's release the arms in behind us. If it's available, clasp the hands behind the back. And if it's not, try to tent the fingers and make contact and walk the hands in. Okay, and then lift again, pulling the core in, maybe open through the chest, shoulders draw back and down, maybe lifting the chin, not hyperextending here. And then as we exhale, we're going to move to a fold. So if the hands need to unclasp, maybe they stay connected behind you, maybe they do clasp and you're able to pull the hands away from the low back. Maybe you just rest the arms in some way at the low back. Just allowing the shoulders to roll forward now. If the head's hanging, just give it a little rock from side to side. And if you want to release the arms at any time, of course, you can bring them forward just to support the upper body, trying to stay rooted down through your sitting bones. And as we allow those shoulders to draw heavy towards the earth now, just feeling that nice opening through the back of the heart. Taking some deep breaths into that area, maybe closing through the eyes. Good. After your next exhale, maybe you release the hands forward, maybe use your core to come up, just however you'd like to make your way up, depending on the position of the arms. And I want a little more warm up from the hips before we flow. So let's lean back into the hands, release through the legs, adjust yourself. So maybe you're tenting the fingers. If you need more height, you can also use your blocks underneath the hands. But we're using that core to sit up tall, and we might have to adjust as we go. We're moving into our figure 4 shape. So we'll ground through the left foot and flex the right to cross at the left thigh. So as you flex through that right heel, option to stay still or add a little rocking to begin. Just noticing the different sensations as the legs fall to the left, as they come to center, and as they fall to the right. And if that's just feeling good for you and you want to maintain that gentle movement, then contain that, maintain it, or come back to center and see if we can start to find a little more coming closer to our edge. And I don't mean going beyond our edge, and we can always back out if it becomes too intense, but just finding that comfortable place that you can hold for a moment without any kind of strain. And try not to crunch the shoulders to the ears. Just find that open space around the collarbones, around the upper chest, maybe the shoulder blades gently drawing towards one another. So we feel this opening around our heart space at the front of the body. Once we found our edge, maybe closing back down through the eyes, relax tension, the brow and the jaw, and take a few rounds of breath. Good. One more full round of breath here. And instead of coming out of this pose, we're going to move into our double pigeon if it's available. So keeping the right heel flexed at the knee, we're going to start to bring the sole of the left foot to the right edge of the mat, flexing through that foot. And then see if we can start to walk the torso up. So we're not crossing the legs, but the knee is stacking over the ankle or heel and vice versa. So here we want to try to wiggle back onto those sit bones, and we can certainly lean back and stay there if it's more comfortable. We can use a block to fill the space, just bringing it to whatever height helps to fill that space. Trying to sit up tall, maybe that's where you're working towards. Maybe you're not getting there today. Maybe there's a slight lean back through the torso, nice and soft through the elbows. This one can be very, very intense. So good indication if things are a little tight, and it might not just be a matter of tightness, it might be our DNA or our makeup. So just being kind and gracious to yourself here and enjoying whatever stretch you can find making sure that it's gentle. And for those who can come into that upright position, if you're feeling like there's more space, by all means, you can take a big, tall breath in and move to a slight forward fold, or maybe you can fold all the way, just finding again the stretch that feels good in your body. I invite you to soften back down through the eyes and just take a few slow breaths in and out, being patient with the process. Maybe just observing that gap, wherever it is for you, might start to slowly close in as we hold this pose. Maybe it never will, and that's perfectly okay too. Just observing what's happening in our own bodies. Good, and after your next exhale, if you're folding forward, you'll slowly rise up. If you're more in an upright position, we'll slowly walk the hands back. We'll release the legs back to where we started, but add that rock of the knees from side to side. And just noticing a difference between the right and the left leg and thigh and hip. Good, and we'll start to move over to the other side. So just walking in a little bit, grounding through the right foot, now our opposite, flexing through the left heel, crossing it at the right thigh, adjust. And we'll just start maybe with that little rock. And again, it's always yogi's choice. You can continue just like this. Maybe this is just what you need today, just what your hips need. Maybe you come back to center and just start to come in a little closer to your edge. And sometimes once we find that edge, we can just back away slightly so that we can maintain the posture. But if we have to adjust, we can adjust. Make sure those elbows are soft. Shoulders are relaxed down and we're broad across the upper chest. And I invite you just to close the eyes whenever you can to maintain or come back to that more internal perspective, that mind-body connection, introspection, observation. Good. And then again, after your next exhale, maybe you start to flex the left to right heel as well and come into that double stacked pigeon. You'll notice probably a difference between sides. Maybe there's less or more of a gap between the knee and the heel on this side. And of course, you can use your props to support. Maybe it takes that little adjustment to pull the fleshy bits back and away. Maybe tenting the fingers or using your blocks to help support the core and the back body. If you feel any kind of tension or strain in the back, try to support it with that core activation. Yeah, maybe you lean back, that's where you find comfort. Maybe you can sit upright and find comfort. Maybe you take that big breath in and that exhale to fold forward. Again, without judgment or criticism, noticing the differences between sides. Slowing your breath down and allowing the breath to be nourishing, perhaps thinking of letting go of tension through those hips on your exhalations, just softening a little more in your hips on the breaths out. Good, and one more full round of breath. Using your inhale to begin to come out no matter what variation you're in. I like to lean back before I start to release the legs just to create more space for that to happen. And then plant the feet and just rock those knees again from side to side. And if there's any other movement, then take it. Now that our shoulders and hips are a little more warmed up, We'll begin to transition over onto the hands and knees. So if the socks are still there, maybe this is a good time to remove them. Maybe grabbing a sip of water if it calls to you. And we'll start to come over onto the hands and knees in our tabletop pose, spreading our fingers wide, clawing the fingers into the mat, creating a nice long spine by pulling the navel gently in. Take a big breath in as we exhale, rounding the spine, letting the head hang heavy, lifting the space between the shoulders and the middle of the back body, and then drawing the belly down, lengthening and expanding across the front of the body as we lift the tail and chin gently. The elbows stay soft and beginning to flow with your own breath. And just practicing that coordination of breath with movement as though the breath is fueling your movement. Maybe staying and enjoying your cat or your cow for a little longer. Good, just a couple more times. And let's end on that cat pose, rounding the spine, dropping the head heavy, maybe a little wiggle through that head, releasing tension from the neck and the top of the shoulders. And then we'll inhale to come on back to a flat back. Little core work here, engaging the core, maybe bringing the knees slightly in together. And you can always curl the left toes or top of the foot flat. Inhale, extending the right leg long behind us, flexing through the heel and the internal rotation. So the toes are pointing down as the heel flexes towards the back wall. I like to bring the right palm slightly in to find that center of gravity, keeping the core engaged. And if you want to add that left arm, slowly floating it up overhead. Nice and soft through the elbows here, just finding your balance in your breath. Good. If you want to join me in lengthening on our inhale with control, really squeezing into the core, drawing knee and elbow together. Again, that right elbow stays soft here, so just softening if you find that hyperextension there. And less is more. Nice, slow, controlled movement here. Fine tuning our movement, fine tuning, strengthening of our core muscles. Good. One more time, and we'll end on that inhale, extending arm and leg. Using our exhale to lower the palm and then the knee. Maybe just lean into the left palm and just roll out a few times through that right wrist. Maybe shake it out. And then we'll come down for the other side. So knees maybe coming in towards one another. And when you're ready, using your inhale to extend the left leg long now. And top of the right foot flat or curling the toes, lift your ribs, nice strong core. Left palm might step in, soft elbow. And if you're adding the right arm, using an inhale to reach it up. If the shoulder's hugging the ear, draw it back. Find your breath, find your balance. Slowing it down. And if you want to join me, inhale, reaching arm and leg away from one another before, with your control, squeezing the core in to draw elbow and knee. Again, nice, slow, refined movement here. Good, and one last time. Again, we'll end on the inhale, extending arm and leg, and then lower right hand and left knee. Let's bring the knees wide, big toes together, sink the hips back towards the heels, walk the arms, hands forward, and just settle into a variation of child's pose. Maybe you give a little wiggle to allow the ribs to fall between the inner thighs. The belly softens towards the earth, and then that heart space can start to melt down heavy. Elbows a little wider to where you can soften the shoulders, the space between the shoulders. And come back to easy, full breaths, practicing maybe ujjayi here, or just that equal ratio breath in preparation to really flow with our breath. Vinyasa translates to linking breath with movement. So our practice becomes like a meditation in motion. Good. One more fuller breath in. Slow breath out. And if you're ready, starting to lift the head, walk the palms to the top edge of the mat, spread the fingers, use your core to rise up, finding your tabletop pose. Preparing for a downward dog. We're going to curl through the toes now. Take a big breath in and use our exhale to lift those hips, softening the knees as the head shifts between the upper arms, the shoulders broaden, the feet about hip distance. The knees soft as the tail stays lifted, not pulling back towards the back wall. And then nice and slow, let's pedal out now, awakening through the back of the legs. Landing, taking a couple rounds of breath. Good, let's bring the big toes together. Nice and soft through the knees. Let those shoulders come back away from the ears, the head dropping heavier. Shoulders are square, hips are square. Try not to lose that as we inhale and float the right leg behind us. Deepen the bend in the left knee to reach the right heel a little higher, toes pointing down. Find your breath, broad shoulders, head and neck loose. Good. Take another breath in. Exhale, slowly lower the right foot down to meet the left. Give a little pedal. And then land in your downward dog again, shoulders broad, tail high, knees soft. Try to keep the squareness through the shoulders and hips. And use your next inhale to mindfully send the left leg back. Deepen the bend in the right knee. Feel the heel draw away from the opposite. Slowing your breath. One more inhale. Exhale, soften the left leg down to meet the right. Bring the feet a little wider. Good, maybe to the width of the mat or just wider than the hips. Soften the knees and very slowly walk the hands back towards the legs. Find a nice rag doll here, and you can adjust the feet. Maybe the hands come to opposite elbows, and notice if you have a tendency to hold the head up or gaze up, and just let the crown of the head drop heavy, the arms, the shoulders drawing gently towards the earth as we maybe bring a little movement into this pose, rocking from side to side, or maybe little circular motions, staying grounded through the feet. And if taking circles, just reversing. Good. When you're ready, come back to stillness. Let the arms come down to the mat and then slide the hands up the shins, over the knees to the thighs. Deepen the bend in the knees like you're going to squat in a chair. Round your spine, tucking the chin, slowly pushing into those strong legs. Once the shoulders are over the hips, let's send the arms wide, knees soft. Reach up, look up. Maybe palms touch and use your exhale to slowly lower hands to heart. Take a nice big breath in, maybe eyes are closed, and let it go. And again, big breath in, let it go. Relax the arms down to the sides. We'll reposition ourselves to the top edge of the mat, finding mountain pose, ready to flow. Good. So standing in that grounding pose, beginning again, relaxing the arms down to the sides, rolling those shoulders down and back, a little bend to the knees, and just adjusting the pelvis so it's in a nice neutral position. That low belly pulled in as we soften the shoulders, and just finding again those opposite forces of stability, strength, ease, and softening. Find your breath, relax your jaw. Moving in your own tune, in your own time. Nice and soft through the knees. Arms sweep out and up. Knees stay soft as we pull the belly in and reach up and lengthen. Exhale, maybe arms come wider down through heart as we fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up, strong core, flat back. Exhale, plant the palms, step one foot back, followed by the other, and just drop the knees. Let the hips start to sink down, the wrists below the shoulders, and broaden across the upper chest, the chin slightly lifted, gaze forward. Core is engaged. Take a big breath in. As we exhale, try to graze the ribs with the inner arms to lower all the way down. Tucking the chin, flatten the feet, press them down as we inhale, core engaged, rise up, baby cobra, stay here. For 3, breathing easy. For 2, and 1. Exhale, lower down. Palms might slide back, toes curl, push into your table as you breathe in. Exhale, downward dog. Let's give a little pedal as we move through the slower warming up salutation, Surya Namaskar. A, soften those knees, take the gaze slightly forward, and take a few steps to the top edge of your mat, landing in Uttanasana on the tail end of your exhalation. Rising up halfway on your breath in. Exhale, folding forward. Deepen the bend in the knees to help push up through the legs, taking the weight off the back and rise up, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. So a little more fluidly now to warm up. Inhale, volcano. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up halfway. Exhale, fold forward. Plant the palms. Maybe step opposite foot back, followed by the second leg. You can drop the knees or stay lifted. Roll forward or lengthen. Exhale, lower down. Feet flatten, inhale, rise up, core strong. Maybe extended cobra this time, coming a little further. Exhale, lower down. Curl the toes, press into the palms. Table as we breathe in, exhale, downward facing dog. Soften the knees, look forward, step to the top edge of the mat. Landing in that forward fold, head heavy. Inhale, rise up when you're ready, halfway lift. Exhale, folding forward. Deepen the bend in the knees and rise up, reach up. Exhale, hands to heart. Little less instruction now. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift, strong core. Exhale, high plank. Roll forward. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, baby, extended or upward dog. And you can push back to table on your breath in, push back to down dog on your breath out, or curl those toes, use the core to lift the hips, downward dog. Soften the knees, look forward, hop, step, floater, walk to the top of the mat, landing in Uttanasana. Using your inhale to rise halfway. Exhale to fold forward. Inhale to push up, reverse swan dive. Exhale, hands to heart. Beginning to add on, inhale, rise up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, high plank. Knees or rolling forward, lengthening either way. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, opening the heart. Exhale, gradually making your way to that downward facing dog. And just landing here for a moment, finding your right upside down V shape, knees soft, and pause for a few rounds of breath. Good. If it's helpful, bring the toes together. Be mindful of keeping square through shoulders, hips. Inhale, send the right leg back. Finding your breath, squaring the hips. One more inhale to lengthen a little higher. Exhale, draw knee to chest. looking forward and planting the foot between the palms. So you might use the hand to guide it. Good, let's come into our warrior two. Ground down through the left foot, toes on a slight upward angle. Keep the right hand connected as we lengthen beyond the crown through the left arm. So try to find that long line from the outer edge of the left foot to the tips of the fingers. You can bring the right hand to the thigh or push into those legs and slowly and controlled come finding up. Warrior two, softening the shoulders, gaze over the front middle finger, maybe experimenting with closing through the eyes, but feel all four corners of the feet grounding down, supporting the joints, the knees, and the hips. Good option here to roll the right heel away from the mat and just sink a little deeper. Relax the shoulders, slow your breath. One more inhale. Exhale, lower that heel down. Inhale, flip the back palm, windmill the arm forward. We're coming down into a runner's lunge, and we're wiggling the back foot a little further away so we can start to sink the hips here, the front knee stacked over the heel. Let's give a little rock. You can always drop that back knee if that's more comfortable for you. Good, let's ground into the left palm, nice and soft through the elbow. Look to the right and sweep that right arm up to the sky. Relax the shoulders. Keep those hips softening down. Find your breath, tucking the chin if there's strain in the neck. One more breath in. Exhale, back to that low lunge. Let's step the right foot back. Downward dog, oh my goodness. Give a little pedal through the legs. Now, if you want to rest, you can come down to child's pose. You can rest in your down dog. Or from here, we'll use our inhale to pull up through the core and find our high plank. Exhale, knees or not, lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good, just finding your breath, slowing it down, maybe a little pedal once again. And we're gonna set up to come into that on the other side. Big toes might come together, knees soft, shoulders, hips square. Inhale, rise, or raise the left leg behind you. Soften the right knee, find your breath. Breathing in, exhale, bend the knee, squeeze it in, and step it forward. So this time we're dropping down through the right foot, the toes on a slight outward angle. Grounding through the left fingertips as we reach beyond the crown with the right fingers, feeling that long line and lateral stretch now through the right side of the body. Again, you can bring the left hand to the hip or thigh, or use that core and strong legs to come all the way up. Sending the right arm behind and the left fingers lengthening beyond the front knee. Maybe closing the eyes or finding your gentle gaze, softening the shoulders down. Planting through all four corners of each foot. Again, option to stay here, roll the heel over the ball of the left foot and sink a little deeper. And when you're ready, releasing that heel down. Flipping the right palm to the sky so we can windmill the arms forward to frame the left foot, turning the right toes forward, and wiggle that leg back to find our runner's lunge where the hips can sink. Option to drop the right knee down. Planting the right palm to the right edge of the mat, looking left and adding that arm towards the sky if it's available. Always modifying hand to hip and just drawing the left shoulder over the right with soft elbows here. Finding your breath. Are you holding the hips up? Can you soften them down just a little more for this last round? Breathing in. Exhale. come on down. Good. Again, we're going to just step that left foot back to our downward dog. Take a couple petals out. Decide if you just want to stay here. Maybe you're ready for that rest down into Balasana. Otherwise, use your core to lift the back body, round forward, high plank. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Bring the feet to the width of the mat and walk the hands back halfway to where the heels make contact to the mat. So we're still in an upside down V shape, but we're closer together with the hands and feet. The knees are soft, toes still pointing forward. Take a big breath in. Exhale, bring the right hand over to take a bind at the outside of the left ankle or calf. Yeah, nice and soft through the knees. If the hips are leaning to the left, soften the right knee and let them come back to center. Relax the head, relax the shoulders. Maybe gaze is under that left arm. Breathing in, breathing out. One more breath. Releasing the right hand. Take a big breath in, and as we exhale now, we'll cross the left hand to take a bind at the outside of the right heel or calf. Again, if the hips are leaning to the right, soften that left knee and come back to center, head dropping heavy as we take the gaze or chin under the right arm. Breathing in slowly and breathing out completely. One more inhale. Exhale, that shortened upside down V. Let's again walk the hands back towards the legs. Heel toe the feet into about hip distance, maybe a little wider, and just bow over the legs. Option to take the peace fingers around the big toes, letting the elbows come wide, crown heavy. Option to lift the soles of the feet, turn the palms up, slide the palms under the feet, letting the toes come to the wrist creases. Elbows wide, little sway. Maybe you're lifting and lengthening as you inhale slightly, exhaling to bow, no matter what variation you're taking. Keeping that micro bend in the knees. Good. After your next exhale, very slowly start to release the hands from their binds. Slide the palms over the tops of the feet, over the shins, over the knees to the thighs. Deepen the bend in the knees, tuck the chin, and slowly, slowly, slowly rise up. Once the shoulders are over the hips, send the arms out wide, pull the navel in, knees soft. Exhale, hands to heart. Good. Relax the arms down, grab a sip of water. My goodness, should have put my hair in a ponytail today. And let's just meet in the middle of the mat, setting up for a standing balancing pose. If you want your block, we're going to be coming into chair pose. You can experiment with your block between the thighs. Maybe you want the big toes together, heels slightly apart. Maybe you just want your feet more in a hip distance position. So toes pointing forward, maybe just rolling forward and back on the heels and the balls of the feet, lifting the toes, and just finding yourself really planted down. The arch is lifted, and that's where we feel that grounding through the four corners. Now, as we gently squeeze the block, you might feel an internal rotation through the thighs. So the opposite to where when we were seated and externally rotating, but we're not pushing the tail behind us. We're keeping that pelvis neutral. So engaging the thighs, slight internal rotation without misaligning the pelvis. Relax the shoulders now, soften the knees, and find your breath, feeling grounded and rooted. Good. On your next inhale, let's float the arms up if you're adding the arms. Release the shoulders down as we turn the pinkies towards one another. We'll breathe in to engage our core. And as we exhale, feel that block squeeze if it's there as we sink the hips low. So our weight is in the heels. You might even practice lifting the toes. And if this is too much for the arms or shoulders, then bring the hands to the heart and just soften the shoulders down. Good. So making sure your tail's not pushing back. It's curving into a more neutral position as we engage that core. Good. See if we can sink a little deeper. Find your breath. Relax your jaw. A little deeper. Almost there. Breathe and soften. Good. Let's really slowly reach up or stand up. So let's start to stand to 5. Keep that core engaged. 3, 2, and 1. No matter where the arms are, just relax them down to the sides. Remove that block. We'll set it off to the side. And let's come back to the top of the mat. Find your mountain. We'll take a nice flow. Slow down. Roll those shoulders down and back. Give a little rock or wiggle to just reground through the soles of their feet, their foundation of our bodies. Good. Let's inhale, sweep the arms out and up. Nice soft knees as we reach up. Exhale, slowly folding forward. Inhale, rising up halfway. Exhale, high plank. Inhale, roll forward or drop knees. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. So our last downward dog, give a little pedal. Just notice how it feels. Maybe you're appreciative that it's your last dog. Maybe it feels especially good. Maybe it's both. And then land with soft knees, shoulders broad, tail lifted, and take 2 or 3 rounds of breath. And at the end of your last breath, just gently lowering the knees down. Walk the hands back towards the knees. Maybe rest on the heels if it's comfortable, or you can make your way to your bottom. And we're just going to roll out through the right. So we have to roll out both wrists now. Maybe a little extra for the left. Reversing. Maybe a little flutter. Good. Let's bring the hands together at the heart, but the elbows wide so they're lifted and active. Roll the shoulders down and back. Feel the crown lengthen, getting a nice squeeze into those quads if we're in our kneeling position. And take a big breath in as we exhale. Gently press the fingers and palms towards one another, but really activate across the shoulders. So squeeze the shoulder blades slightly towards one another. As we inhale, soften. As we exhale, activate. Just a couple more times. Last one. Good. Let's send the arms out forward, palms forward, and then towards one another. Cross the right arm over the chest and take the left hand to the upper arm, maybe the forearm to the lower towards the elbow and the palm towards the right shoulder. And don't twist through the upper body, but just start to press the arm in towards the chest. Maybe you pull it away from the right side a little further to the left, but again, we're not changing that squareness of the shoulders. Just give it a couple little squeezes here, reaching a little further with the right fingertips. Again, elbow nice and soft. Maybe you notice some tenderness there. Just sending love in those areas. Good, and then we'll open back up through the arms. This time crossing the left arm over the chest, taking the right hand and forearm to the left shoulder. And same thing, a little soft through the elbows and just giving some little squeezes. Noticing any tender spots, you might kind of massage by palming the upper arm there. Good, and then inhale, open up, maybe lift the chest and chin. As we exhale, just bring the hands to the lap, the head to center. Now we're going to flip the palms away, so thumbs are externally rotating outward. Take the fingers towards the knees to the mat and see if you can lift the hips away from the heels to release the palms to the mat. We're just leaning forward, soften the elbows, and maybe little flossing here, leaning forward as we breathe in. You'll notice, well, I notice in my body, you might notice the same, or maybe you're different, that it doesn't take a lot of movement here to feel a stretch. So just be really mindful not to pull or force. With those flosses, they're very controlled. Good. And then we'll start to lower the hips back to the heels, lifting the palms and then the fingers away. One more time, just roll out now through the wrists or bring any movement that feels good. And then we'll sweep the legs around, finding our way onto our bottoms. You can come down in your own way or engage through the core, send the arms forward as we roll the shoulders down and back. Take a big breath in and start to use your exhales to roll down. Once the head connects, maybe stretch the arms up and give yourself little wiggle, little stretch, or maybe you send the arms and legs away from each other and take a big star shape, maybe flexing through the heels, pointing the toes, or rolling out through the wrists and the ankles. Reversing your directions. Good, and then wiggle the shoulders down. Maybe you just draw the elbows to a bend and activate the shoulders, drawing them in towards one another to expand across the chest, and then relax the shoulders heavy. Maybe there's an adjustment through the lower body or experimenting with the distance between the heels. Adjust the neck last, feeling length and space around the back sides and fronts of the neck. Take a nice double inhale, so half the breath forcefully in, and then again, and then a big exhale. Again. One more time. Allow the body to take over any control of the breath. Each exhale, allowing your body to grow heavier and more relaxed. We'll just take a few moments with a gentle awareness, letting go of control, no analyzing what arises, just a gentle observation. Your body, your breath, your senses. Letting go, letting go. Embrace life's mystery. Embrace the mystery of life. You don't need to know everything in your head. You don't need to figure everything out. You don't need an instructions sheet or a set of rules. You don't need all the answers. Let yourself experience life. Hang on to the handlebars when you must, but as much as possible, put your hands in the air and enjoy the ride. Feel everything you need to feel along the way. Feel the fear, the joy, the exhilaration. Feel the wind in your hair and the sun on your shoulders. Feel the vitality of life surge through you. See vitality and life in all that's around you. Watch the magical journey of your life unfold with all its ups and downs. Feel the awareness surge up from deep within. Grasp the insights that come. Grab the brass ring whenever you can. Embrace the mystery of life. Embrace the mystery and magic of you. Once again, maybe visualizing your body on your mat in the position and space that you're in. Noticing the quality of your breath and how your body feels. And if you're ready, just starting to bring those little movements back in to the smaller parts of the body, wiggling, rocking, whatever feels good. Maybe starting to add more movements in these next few rounds of breath before flowing your way into a fetal position on one side or the other to pause for a round of breath or two there. You might revisit your intention in that fetal position, or once you've come up to seated, just taking your time to move nice and slow to gradually make your way to that upright position, and maybe crossing the legs in the opposite way. If you're crossing the legs, re-grounding down. If you'd like to join me, bringing the hands together at the heart. The light within me sees and honors the light within each of you. Namaste.